Okay, now I want to get the cam gears, crank gear on there. And it's time to, I got to find the keyways in that mess over there. And boy, is it a mess, because this is a hodgepodge of two engines. Now, that's from a Chevy 327. That's from the road grader. Oh, those are ball bearings for the lifters. Oh boy. Anybody got any long reach 7/8 spark plugs? Let me know. I think that's for the cam. Yeah, these are for the cam. And the reason I know that is because the water pump runs off of the cam. And you can see where it's been wearing out. That pounds in there. I think I have some newer pins that aren't wore out. Oh, what a mess. Well, that's transmission. Okay, I'm not going to take you through this journey of hell. Let me find the parts I need. Well, I managed to find my keyways, and I did buy a new one of these at some time when I built that last engine. I was just trying to figure out the best way to swing this in here with a hammer. This actually drives the water pump, as I said before. Come on. How's this going to go? I can't get a swing on it. Okay, I don't want to goober up the threads, so let me find a punch. Come on. That must be one soft pin, because that brass hammer mushroomed that end over it. Okay, got that. I guess that I should have put this one in. My crank was out, huh? I took all these to the grinder and I cleaned them up a little bit, so when the gears go to come on it, they're not going to gubber up. I think these ones actually came out of the transmission, but they were smart back then. They didn't have multiple stuff. Okay, what do we got going on here? I got one that is smaller than the rest. I guess I didn't find all of them. Well, I was wrong about this. They used the same size key. They didn't cut it as far down into the cam because it was going to interfere with the water pump pin. But what they did do is machine that hole deeper than that hole. Now, I had to pull that pin back out, and the reason why is the one that I bought was slightly too long, and it was interfering with the gear going on. I've cleaned up the threads. Now, I'm going to have to tap this on with a rawhide. And I, at first, was worried about blowing out the back cup plug that in the rear cam bearing carrier, but I'm seeing right here that the Woodruff key hits that front cam bearing journal. Make sure I put it on the right way, looking for the timing mark. Timing mark's right there. Get it lined up the best I can. Okay. This should go in pretty easily. And it isn't seated yet. Let me grab a big old socket. See if that'll help me get that driven on there a little better. Did it? Now, I'm going to have to use the nut to drive that on. I got a feeling that woodruff key is kind of doing one of these numbers in there. If that's the case, I'll need to pull it on with this. The cam's going to want to turn. I'm going to want to use the crank to lock it up. So let me get the crank rotated over so that the timing gears are locked up, get that gear on there, and then I'll use the crank to lock it up when I tighten up that nut on the cam. Okay, I got the timing marks lined up. I just got to tap this back and forth on here. Should probably use the rawhide, huh? I want to walk it on carefully. If I break it, I'm screwed, right? Make sure the timing marks are still lined up. They shouldn't jump. These woodruff keys are being a pain in the ass. Jeez. Let me see if I can find a pipe or something to put on that. I can pound that on. Well, there we go. I found something that'll work. Okay. That is seated. Now I can I'll put some bolts in the end of the crankshaft. And then, so that won't turn, the breaker bar on there. And get the cam nuts tightened up. Now, I don't want to put the slinger on quite yet. I want to seat it first because I don't want to distort the slinger if I have to reef on this thing. Make sure I got enough threads starting on this so I don't strip the nut or the cam. Oh yeah, this is going on like a piece of cake here now. Oh, okay. Oh, there's my end play. I'm happy. I'm happy with that gear walking on like that. Okay. Crank gear's a little out, but that could be from the throwout bearing being machined a little incorrectly. You know what I'm saying? Back to that machine shop. Or when I go to tighten this up, it'll pull it in. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna pop this on here. I'm gonna use a little bit of red Loctite on this, just cause it's 2024. We have that shit now. There are no torque specs for any of this. Now, there probably is in a machinist handbook somewhere, but I don't have it. Okay, I think I'm gonna put my fat ass on this so it doesn't lift up. Let me come around to the other side. And I felt my left nut move a little bit on that one. That ain't going nowhere. Well, I had to pull the cam back out slightly. That bolt goes through the outside of the block, and it comes in here and it locks that cam front cam bearing in place. And what was happening was when I chucked the cam end play, the whole bearing was sliding in and out. There's some slack in here. Now I've just checked the end play, and I have 3/1000 in here. Get it in here. So I've got 3/1000 right here, which is decent considering how old this is. So I'm almost wondering if that was designed to be that way. I have no idea. I mean, why this would be doing what it's doing. But the engine ran that way in the past, so I'm going to put it back together that way. And you can see where the pin goes in here. Hold on here. Let me see if I can get this lined up. And this bolt goes in here. Got my ring caught in there. Haha. The hole's not there. The hole moved on me. Story of my life. Okay, the pin's lined up again. I'm going to go ahead and put some red Loctite on there. I'm just going to say that's the way this is supposed to be and call it a day. I wonder if it has anything to do with thermal expansion. Because there are two, well, so really only one thrust surface. I guess since it's not oiled, that there's no oil pressure in there. I guess it would help get oil to where it needs to go. That's all I can think about why they would do it the way they're doing it. Hey, before you put this pin in, make sure you got your timing marks where they need to be, huh? That'd probably be a good idea. Boy, this is going to be a pain in the ass. Yeah, because the bearing's wanting to turn now. No. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's off a timing mark. That ain't going to work. There we go. That's where it needs to be now. Yeah, that's pretty strange. I've never seen anything like that with a floating bearing before. I guess it's the way it's supposed to be. Aha! It's not in where it needs to be. Okay. Let me get this back to where it's supposed to be. Hey, let me show you what I'm talking about. Watch that bearing. The whole thing's moving on that pin. If anybody knows if that's supposed to be like that, let me know. But since it's been like that for 104 years, and it ain't worn out, I'm going with it. I've just noticed something. This block was cast in 21. And that's where the cam bearing for the rear is. There's a cut plug staked into there. And let me see if the car is down low enough to where I can see the casting number on that. Zoom in. 23. Okay, so they had to do an upgrade on these, and I'm going to tell you why. That bearing's got a bolting cap on the back of it. What was happening is that camshaft was moving back and forth, and it was hydroing that cut plug, and it blew it out. So what I might end up doing is taking this cam bearing, putting it in that block. I'll mic it out. If it's the same ID, I'll put the upgraded in. Got this off, the flywheel off. I need to pull the oil pan off and the oil pump. And the reason why is my cherry picker will not lift this high enough to get up over top of that light bar. So I need that stuff off of there. So that's the next step, oil pan, oil pump. Well, I've been taking this apart, and I was right. The reason they put that rear cam bearing upgrade on there is because that was blowing out. I'm trying to pull a camshaft out right now, and it's hydro-locked, or I got a vacuum in there. I wonder if you can hear it when it pops. I don't know. Yeah, you can hear it a little bit. Yep, the air popped. So, yeah, you can hear it. That is why they upgraded that bearing. Oh, come on out of there. Okay. I hope this is the same ID. I know it's the same OD. It's the same ID. I'm putting an upgrade in. Ain't no doubt about that. I'm almost got the crank out. I want to get this everything out to where all the dirtiness is over and I can start cleaning up, putting back together. Well, I walked away from this for a day just to catch my breath. I didn't want to get too bored, overlook things. That's 21 engine, and the one I took out of it was a 23. And I mentioned that the rear cam bearing was different. This is the 21. There's the 23. And I'm positive it had to do with this hydro hammering that cut plug out, because that's pretty robust right now. Another thing I did notice is this is, let me think. The front crank gears are different too. So this is the 21. This one's the 23. 23 has a shim in there. I'm using the 21 gears. I did the measurements on it. Everything's all right. I think they probably did a cost saving by going to this for machining purposes. I'm thinking that'd be the only reason they would do something like that. Other than that, there's no difference between the gears. So just minor differences between these engines. And that water pump or oil pump is the one that came with the vehicle when I bought it. This is a new style water pump or oil pump. And they added a collar to make it fit. There's differences in those too. So lots of little differences just in 2 years. Well, let me get that gear on, and I'm about ready to get this engine flipped over and start painting it. Well, I'm taping it off now, getting ready to paint it. I got my timing marks, or my timing, mark where to put the distributor in at top dead center right now, compression stroke. I've got an old gasket I'm going to put on top so that when I lift that, I don't want those to mar up the deck face. There's a 2-ply copper with asbestos in between there, so let it eat up any indentation that would make. So I've got that to get together. I got to get the front cover on. I got that somewhere sandblasted laying around. I don't know where. I'll find it. We get that on, and I can hang it, paint it, let it sit overnight, and then drop it in the engine compartment. I'm getting there. Well, I've got front cover bolts all cleaned, ready to be painted. I'm going old school. You old timers, you'll remember that. This is what I'm using on the front cover gasket. This actually sits in oil. The lower crank does gear. I don't want any chance of weeping out of this, and I'm not a big fan of the RTV in certain locations, so there we go. Let me get this bolted on here. This is all taped off, ready to go, and then I got the oil pan to put on. My goal is to go get this painted tonight, but I don't know how that's going to happen. I have to go pick up the flywheel from the machine shop at 4. Okay, let's go. Okay, that'd be it for today. Golf coming on. I'm slowly picking away at it. I like this blue stuff here. Which one is this one? Totally naked. As hot as it fucking is, I might as well be totally naked. I'm going to take a seat here and pound this. Take a shower, get ready for golf.